Muted.
Good morning. Welcome to ProVu Communication webinar on 3CX. My name is Mohammed Bajwa and I am a Senior Technical Sales Engineer at ProVu Communications. I have been joined by our Sales Team Leader, Anna Mazik-Smith. She will be doing most of the talking initially. And today we will discuss the potentials of 3CX and how easy it is to manage, buy, and we'll also talk about some bits as well going forward. Just before we move on to the main subject, just a bit of housekeeping. If you are logged in from GoToMeeting webinar, software from either from a web browser or from a PC client, you can see there's an option to have there's a chat option on the right hand side of the client, depending on again on the browser. It might be on the top of the browser. So if you have any questions, any concerns, anything to do with the webinar, you can basically raise issues in your chat box. We can see your questions. We will try to answer the questions during the webinar. If we can't answer it during the webinar, there is an actual question and answer session right at the end of the webinar as well. So we'll try and answer as many questions as we can during the webinar. If we can't answer the questions, we will come back to you personally in an email or after the webinar. Just to make you aware, the webinar is being recorded, so we will send you a recorded version of the webinar as well. So I'll now pass it on to Anna, and she will, who will start talking about the 3CX. Thank you.
Okay, so the aim of the webinar today is to tell you a bit about 3CX, and for those of you who are already aware, this will give you just a good all-round overview of the features so that you've got all the information that you need to really start selling to your customers. So today we're going to go through the key selling features of the 3CX PBX and what sets it apart from the others. I will also go through the license types, what they can and cannot do. My colleague Mohammed will also be doing a demo for you to show you some of the features and how fast and easy it is to set up. We will also clarify about the supported hardware. This one's pretty vital as you don't want to recommend the wrong kit to go with your licenses. We will also have some really exciting bundle offers for you. These are ProVu exclusive only, so you're going to want to hear these, and followed by a summary and a bit of a Q&A. So what is 3CX? Now, as I'm sure you're all aware, PBXs nowadays are often referred to as UC systems. So a PBX that can support voice, instant messaging, web meetings, you can integrate with other softwares like Outlook, CRM systems, etc. And generally, when you think of a PBX like this, you'll think of a big system that sits on site and requires on-site engineers to maintain. Whereas what 3CX have done is come up with an entirely software-based PBX, which will enable users to make and receive calls over VoIP trunks or PSTN when using a VoIP gateway. As a software PBX, it can be installed on your existing hardware and registered to your existing IP phones. Being Windows-based, it works with Windows, obviously, but as of recently, it works with Linux as well. So, key selling features. As I mentioned before, it is Windows-based and therefore based on easy-to-memorize buttons and menus. It's designed to be very user-friendly, basically. The other advantage is that most CRM systems are also based on Windows, so your integration is really easy as both softwares are speaking the same language. Most people these days do have Windows or Linux, so what's great is that you can use any system to install the 3CX PBX. You don't need a dedicated machine on site. So most of your customers should be able to install it on whatever they already have, thus saving the customer money, as there's no need to hire third-party engineers for installation. It's really easy to program and manage. It's essentially a piece of software that you install in your computer, just like you would any other software, and you activate it when you've purchased your license key. It's formatted really well. It's designed and written in a way that anyone with standard IT knowledge will be able to install and configure. Again, allowing your customer to save money as they don't need a third-party engineer. They're basically gaining full control and reducing their overall costs. The plug-and-play phones also makes it really easy to set up. So when you sign in, you can bring up a list of the IP phones that you've already got on your network. You click on the one you want, assign an extension, and away you go. This is really easy to do. Mo's going to show you this in his demo later on, along with some other bits and bobs. Built-in web meetings. This one's really good. As you know, today we're using GoToMeeting, so you no longer have to subscribe to GoToMeeting or pay for it. Your 3CX system will provide all of this. It's dead easy to use. The only restriction is the number of attendees you can have, and that will depend on the license that they've purchased. Click to call as well. This is a new addition to 3CX. It's only for Chrome browsers, but it will convert any numbers in the Chrome browser to click to dial.
Yeah, just to make it aware, the click to dial is more, there are obviously dedicated add-ons available for all the different CRMs like Outlook, Office 365, Tiger CRM, and all the major CRMs. The add-ons are available there. But basically the click to dial or click to call feature is mainly for Chrome. I'm not sure why they've just done it for Chrome, maybe because it was easier, maybe they have development experience. But the idea being is you can use the click to call feature. If you're using web browser Chrome and you have an unsupported CRM system, for example, it will allow you to click to dial from Chrome browser. That's obviously just a sort of a feedback we've received from 3CX. I'm hoping it will be available for other major browsers as well, but as of we speak, it is only for Chrome browsers, and obviously it is only really for unsupported CRM systems. So, sorry, Anna, over to you again.
Okay, so there's also a free-to-download desktop, mobile and tablet application, which means you can sign in and access from anywhere in the world as long as you've got your internet connection. Unlike other soft phone clients, it uses an encrypted tunnel to make the traffic more secure for remote users. There's a one-number concept as well. So unlike other PBXs, 3CX supports multiple SIP registrations for extensions. So if you think to a standard PBX, if, for example, you've got 12 users, then you're going to need 12 extensions, so essentially one per user. Whereas with 3CX, you can have many endpoints. There's the SPLA concept as well. 3CX offer SPLA licenses, or SPLA as they like to call them. These are basically licenses that you can purchase for use for just 1 month or 12 months. Almost like a rental service, but it's great for anyone who isn't in a position to commit to buying a full PBX, whether it's because they're moving offices or whatever, but just require it for a certain period of time. You can have unlimited extensions as well. So the only limitations you have with your licenses is based on the number of simultaneous calls, but when it comes to extensions, you can have as many as you want. You get a bid-cell firewall as well, so it's more secure than your other PBXs. This is something that most of the other ones don't come with.
Yeah, so the firewall is obviously a standard feature on 3CX. There is an SBC which is technically free to download, not technical, but which is basically an SBC available from 3CX as well, which is free to download. So if you want to make it more secure, you can install SBC on public facing IP address and then have the SBC doing all the routings and everything for you for the 3CX. Obviously, it is designed for the PBX, so if you're installing it in a hosted environment, I would recommend to go for the 3CX SBC, and you should probably go for a bit more commercialized solution. But again, because it is free, obviously, it will provide you adequate firewall or adequate security against hack attacks anyways. But if you don't want to go for an SBC, 3CX do have built-in firewall rules, which covers most of the basic hack attacks if you do plan to put that on public facing IP address. Please note you will need a IP firewall as well, so you would definitely recommend you to have something in place on top of 3CX just to extra protect it as to protect the PBX a bit more.
The call recording feature as well is really great. So again, generally with most PBXs, you'll need to purchase an additional license to install onto your PBX to offer you the call recording features. 3CX comes with this already, so again, you're reducing your costs. You're not having to buy all these additional add-ons. It also has a centralized phone book, which is really useful. So you can create phone books for individual groups, individual people, as well as for your entire company. This offers your customer fast and efficient control if you're wanting to make any changes. For example, let's say if you've got a new employee starting and you want everyone in the company to have his or her extension in their phone book, you add it to the web interface and apply it to every person's directory with just one click. Right, I'm going to go through the license types now. So this first one here, PBX Edition, now this is a free to download license that you get when you register with 3CX as a partner. Now there's no commitment to buy when you register with 3CX, but this license gives you just enough features to have a play around and see what you can do with it. Now the ones to purchase, which are the ones that you'll be selling to your customers, you've got Standard, Pro and Enterprise. Those all come with different features, which I'll go through in a sec, and then depending on what they need. And then obviously you pick the number of simultaneous calls, and the max here, the highest one we've got is 1,024.
Just to add to the number of simultaneous calls, obviously 3CX is sold as a number of simultaneous, block of numbers of simultaneous calls. So the number of simultaneous calls are both internal and external. So extension to extension coding is an actual simultaneous code as well. So if you have, let's say, for example, 10 user system, and they all want to make a call, some of them may be internal, some of them may be external, then you have to calculate how many external, simultaneous calls you will need, because as I said, if two people internally are on the call, that's one simultaneous call. If another person calls out, then that's a second simultaneous call. So you just have to do a bit of calculation to make sure you're buying the right level of simultaneous calls anyways for the customer.
Okay, we'll do a bit of a license comparison now. So the first one we've got is the PBX Edition, which, as I said, is the one you get for free of charge when you register. It doesn't have most of the features, but as I mentioned, it gives you all the necessary ones to do some testing. Now, the main ones we need to go through today is the Standard, Pro and Enterprise. There are very few differences. As you can see on this slide, they are showing most of the core features. BLFs, call queuing, transfer, call recording, etc. Now on this slide is where we're going to get into the main differences. So the built-in web meetings that I spoke about earlier on, here are your limitations on the number of attendees. So even with the free PBX edition, you get 5 for testing purposes. With the standard, you've got 10, 50 with the Pro and 100 with the Enterprise. One of the other major differences is that only the Pro and Enterprise licenses come with call center features, such as queuing, wallboard functionalities, etc. The other main difference this time between the Pro and Enterprise. So both the Pro and both the Standard and Pro support failover. The Enterprise does as well, but this one actually comes with a second license for that purpose. So you're not going to need to purchase another license to go along with it.
Just to add to the web conferencing as well, web conferencing obviously is free to include, but it also includes a couple of other bits as well. So basically, 3CX have their own video encoders or decoders, as you can call it, hosted in somewhere. Some of them are in Ireland, some of them in America, some of them in Australia. So basically, what you can do is obviously you can use a camera, you can use any USB cameras or any sort of cameras to do web meetings. You don't need any specific, so the 3CX server will do all the encoding and decoding, and obviously put the video images on the web conferencing in there. You also get free dynamic DNS services as well, which is basically, again, if your customer is not on static IP address, for example, you can register the PBX with a dynamic DNS service. You can call it on 3CX, and obviously for remote users or for remote PBX connectivity, you can use the dynamic DNS name, for remote IP phones and for SIP trunks. That's about it. But again, if you do want to use your own DNS services, maybe you have a subscription, then there is an option to do that as well. So there is no lockdown, obviously, but because it's freely offered by 3CX, it makes sense to utilize 3CX services as well. The standard, just to answer a question, the standard server does include call queues, but it doesn't include all the extra add-ons like call reports, call reporting service, advanced call recording service. There are other wallboard, and I'll show you a bit of in the demonstration as well. But just to confirm, the standard feature does include call queues as standard. It's just all the extra features. To be a bit more specific, if you want to find more about what is included, there's a whole lot of information on 3CX website about edition comparison, and you can see a link on the slide. But again, if you search on Google about 3CX edition comparison, you will find a link on Google as well. which will explain all the major differences between the three different editions we're talking about today.
Yeah, I think it's back over to you, Mo, to do the demo, so I'll leave you to it.
So that's pretty much it. We're not going to go, we've obviously covered the main part of 3CX. I'm just going to give you a bit of a gist of, of how the interface looks like, how easy it is to manage and configure even for a standard IT engineer. And again, because the 3CX history is all about, it started off with Windows. It is designed to make IT engineers or maybe IT engineers to be comfortable with the PBX. Another question is about, I'm just going to go before ask you, another question is PBX edition includes ring groups? Yes, it does include ring groups. Thank you. So I'm just going to log into one of my demo PBXs, which is on our internal network. I'm sure you can see that. Just bear with 1 second. Yeah, so I'm just going to log in with my default password. Hopefully it works. So basically, once you've installed a 3CX phone system, that's the basic default screen you get to. So on the main screen, you've got system information. You can see all the information about the hard drive you're using. At the moment, this is running on a virtual machine in our internal network. So most of the information you can see is probably not, it's not really generally used PBX. But you can see also different information, how many SIP trunks we got, how many extensions, number of calls in use, blacklisted IP addresses, which is again, if you have a firewall issue, then you can do that, chat logs, automatic backups, and firewall tests. Obviously, because it's non-public facing IP address, we've not opened the port, it's the firewall has failed on it. But you can see we have registered our web meeting FQDN. So basically, when we want to do a web conference with anyone, we can send them a link from our client, and it's just pretty much straightforward to do that as well. And you can see web meeting MCU. We have registered with 3CX European server for doing the video side of the thing as well. And it finds all the information. You can find all these different information there as well. There's logs and everything like that. So just to give you a brief introduction about all the basics, I'm not going to go in detail, but I'm just going to give you a gist of information about what is included. So Phones tab is basically when you install 3CX PBX on the day first, for example, it will go through your internal network and find out all the IP or SIP devices in your network. Obviously, you can see all the supported and unsupported hardware there as well, including Grandstream, which is not officially supported, Gigaset, which is not officially supported. There's, 3CX is a SIP-based PBX, or it will work with any SIP hardware. The main reason why 3CX have made supported hardware and not supported hardware is because supported hardware can be managed, configured from within 3CX web interface. Unsupported hardware like Grandstream, for example, or Gigaset, you have to manually configure an extension on each endpoint. And obviously that's the main reason. But again, if you have a problem with SNOM, or if you have a problem with non-supported hardware like Grandstream, 3CX basically won't support you. You will have to basically go to Grandstream to get some support on the hardware. But again, as I said, it should work. It's just 3CX are trying to make certification a bit more official, so you only get support for certain hardware, which is commercial decision, I presume. So phones is pretty much straightforward. As you can see all the phones in there, and you can provision as well. I'll go through them in more detail in a minute. Extensions, these are test extensions we have created internally. Extensions creation is quite similar. You can obviously search by name, by name or by email addresses or whatever. You can search by. If creating an extension is pretty much straightforward. If you are not aware of what an extension is, it's the actual desk phone which sits on your desk, or the extension number you dial to the user. So extension creation is pretty much straightforward. You've got the extension number, you've got first name, full name, email address, mobile number, outbound caller ID. So you can set up all the different options there. If the specific person have a direct dial inbound number, then you can add the information as well. And again, each individual user, depending on the license type, right? So each individual user can have their own click to call or click to meet or web meeting URL. So let's, for example, if I want to do a web meeting with a customer, to share my screen, to do a video collaboration, or do also maybe doing a presentation, a webinar, then each individual user can do that themselves. Obviously, you can you can create a group to make sure that everybody have their own rights as well. So you can create a right group with the different rights for per user as well. All of the bits I'm not going to go in more detail, but you can select voicemail language. The languages, if I go to updates, you can see you will find a lot of different languages. At the moment, everything is installed, but I would probably stick with the UK version anyways. And you can see all different information. If you do want to record your own voicemail greeting, the options, you can either do a drag and drop sort of thing, or you can record from the phone, which basically means you can, if I press that button, it will ask me which extension I want to record for call recording for, or which from, and I can basically name that call recording something, and I'll just press OK, and it will send the call to my phone, and I can pick up the phone, do the call, record the recording, and save it, and that's it really. So it's pretty much user friendly, as you can see. From that, forwarding rule is call forwarding, phone provisioning, and BLF. If you have a supported phone, you can basically add provisioning from here as well. But again, I will talk you through it about in a minute as well, how easy it is to do that as well. BLF, again, if you're using a supported phone, you can push the busy lamp fields or the keys from here as well. All of the bits I'm not going to go in detail, but these are all basic stuff or administration stuff there as well. Groups is basically you can create individual groups or individual departments, individual offices, or maybe you can create a group with different admin rights. So let's, for example, we have this support group name, and you can see we've got all these by default. We just add, for some reason, we've got all these extensions in that support group. But if you look at the actual group right, you can see what these people can do. At the moment, they've got every single setting there, apart from obviously bits and bobs. But you can see, you can select what they can do, what users under that group can do when they log into the 3CX. So you can do all sorts of different groups for the 3CX as well. Contacts, this is centralized phone book directory. As you can see, I can add contacts from this group, and then I can do search and all sorts of stuff as well. If you don't like 3CX internal phone book directory, you can also integrate with Office 365. As you can see, obviously it's a lot of information you will have to put in there. You can integrate with LDAP, and you can also integrate with a local database as well. So you can grab all the information from a local SQL database or LDAP, and then it will keep on updating from there, so you don't actually have to put anything on 3CX. SIP trunks, again, it's pretty much straightforward. You can add SIP trunks, you can basically add gateways, again, add a gateway. At the moment, these are the three default supported gateways: Baronet, Pattern, and Veltan. The idea of supported gateways, when you do choose one of these gateways, the 3CX will generate the whole configuration, and all you have to do is log into the gateway, upload a configuration, and everything is done on the fly for you. So you don't have to actually log into the gateway and configure the gateway separately. But again, if you do want to, for example, use a Sangoma gateway, for example, all you have to do is choose generic gateway, tell it individually how many ports it's got and what the main DDI is, if it's an ISIN 30, ISIN 2, or FXO gateway. So adding a third-party gateway is possible as well. It's just a bit more effort to get it working. That's the only thing. But it works. It does work with third-party gateways as well. Again, SIP trunks are there. You can have an option to select which country you want to, which country you are in. Obviously, we are in the UK, so I'll select UK. And there's a list of, so far there's a list of supported SIP trunk providers. Again, if you are not using one of these SIP trunk providers, it doesn't mean you cannot use it. All you have to do is go to generic, create generic SIP trunk provider, web trunk provider, and create trunks. Again, it's pretty much straightforward with any SIP trunk, PBX. It's not rocket science in my opinion. But again, if you're stuck, get in touch with us. We have a dedicated support team, and we'll try and help you as much as we Inbound routes, I'm not going to go in detail, but inbound route is where you design where the inbound route should go. So if a call comes in, where should it go? So again, you can create routes, CID routes or DID routes on that as well. Outbound routes, pretty much straightforward, where the call should go when somebody dials in. So if you have multiple SIP trunks or multiple gateways, all want to send out calls differently. Maybe you have an ISDN line from BT, and all local calls are free. You may want to send the local calls via the ISDN line, but maybe if you want to dial a mobile number, you may have a SIP trunk or a GSM gateway connected to it, and you want to send the calls out via the GSM gateway. So this is basically all where you define what should happen when the call where the call should go. So let's say, for example, FXO gateway. I'm just going to call it. You can call it local numbers, and from there I can basically from the drop-down menu I can choose where it should go from. So once we have all the different gateways and all the SIP trunk configured, I can choose where it can go from, and I can do all sorts of admin work whether to strip 0 or prepend or add 0 or to dial out the number. Generally for local calls, you may want to add your local number there. So if they dial a 6-digit number, what I would do is 01484, and it will add the number. Generally, you don't need to do that, but in certain circumstances, you may want your customer may require you to do that as well. So pretty much straightforward, really, for outbound routes. Digital receptionist is another one. Again, as the name suggests, it is a digital receptionist. It is used for for offices, for commercial offices, where a call comes in. It is it is answered by a digital receptionist, which is like a pre-recorded message, which is obviously you can record it easily from the phone, or you can upload a professional recorded image from there as well. So all you have to do is add digital receptionist, enter a name, maybe main office, headquarters, or open time, something like that. So if you have a different receptionist for out of hours, obviously you can name them accordingly, but basically that's what it is. So during office hours, or you can actually, office hours is probably a better name for it. Office hours, you can choose what's the extension of the receptionist is, and then you can basically choose from a recorded messages. Obviously, as I said, you have these are default in there, but you have the option to upload your own recording there as well, or you can download and you can play and record. You can do all sorts of different things which is required for it. If you obviously have a recording which says please press 1 for sales, 2 for support, 3 for blah blah blah, then you can basically say if press 10 is, or press 10 is to go to digital receptionist or something like that, you can do that. If 1 is to go to extension, ring group, maybe a queue, you can do that as well. So it's pretty much on the fly sort of things happening. As we can see, we only got 1 ring group, which is 8 hours, so maybe the first one option is to go to support and vice versa. So as you can see, pretty much straightforward for digital receptionist. Ring groups, as the name suggests, it is a ring group. So if you want to make a ring group where a call comes in and it brings all the handsets in certain group, then all you have to do is create a group and add all the extensions that you want to ring when a call comes in. You can also assign a direct inbound dial as well. So when that specific DDI, somebody rings that specific DDI, it will hit that ring group and it will ring all the handsets. This setting, or this feature, is available on all versions of 3CX. So it's not like a licensed version on any of these. Call queues. This call queue is available on standard, professional, and again other versions. We have a professional version which has a bit more to it, and I'll show you in a bit. But basically, call queues is a standard feature as well on that, and you can basically do all sorts of different things. So as you can see, advanced version is more for pro users, or pro versions, which allows you to do all sorts of different setup preferences, set up all sorts of schedules, and all sorts of different things. But call queues, again, I don't want to go in detail, but everything is possible. All the call queue features are available on Pro and Enterprise. The next of the bridges, it bridges to connect 2 different PBXs. So if you have an SBC, you can connect an SBC there. You can connect 2 different PBXs via secure tunnel to make intercompany calls. Free company calls over the VoIP trunk. It is, just to confirm, it's not a SIP. It's not using SIP. It creates a encrypted tunnel between two PBXs to secure and to basically make sure your routers are not playing with CPLGs and all sorts. So it takes the CPLG and NAT problems away because it uses its own NAT or encrypted language. Fax additions, again, fax extension is mainly if you have an ATA connected to a fax machine, basically just to simplify, just to make it easy for you to find out where the fax machines are and also servers. So you can create a fax machine here, which is effectively you're just creating an extension, which is probably the same thing as an extension on normal extension, but you just are trying to make IP phones separate from analog gateways or analog adapters. So it's just that. FXS get that, again, this is the same thing. If you have old analog handsets that you want to connect with 3CX using some sort of gateway device or maybe some sort of ATA, Cisco ATAs, and it's there. Again, I'm not going to go into detail, but just to individually separate them. Core decoding, again, core decoding is a standard feature. We don't have a lot of core recordings, but again, you can select a location where you want to record. So if you don't want to record it locally on a computer, you can choose a NAS server as well, but it's all part of the process. And you can obviously do a quota base as well. So if you have a limited space in your local server, you can say auto clean options or record, remove, delete all recordings older than 30 days, or you can be a bit more specific about it as well. And finally, before the main important one is called backup and restore. As you can see, you can backup and restore, so you can schedule backups with Pro version. You can restore scheduled backups. You can fail over if you have a HA system, and even you can schedule it on FTP or Google Drive. So if you have a Google Drive and you want to stay on Google rather than on a local computer, you can. And I think they're adding in a bit more online storage services as well, but at the moment it's Google Drive, so you can basically set up here, add all the information, and it should be pretty much good to go. Core logs, as the name word explains, core logs is core logs. Core reports is it's mainly for queues and agents when you have advanced core recordings, and you can do call types and all sorts. So it's more like a call center features. So you can set up call type, you can select call cost, and you can create reports which tells you individual people's performances. If you are running some sort of sales, leads or some sort of support leads or whatever. Basically, it's up to you what you want to use that for. But it's mainly used in call centers, really, which is why it's there. Everything else is basically, these are all the advanced features. Block numbers, you can block certain numbers, call parks, you can have licenses, fax servers, music and hold, you can upload your own music and hold. You can create open time zones, office hours and holidays, so you can create that as well. You can do security, networks, all the basic information is there. I'm not going to go in detail because we're not covering that as well. So the major part I want to show, which is the interesting part, is how easy it is to configure. So basically, if you're using a supported phone, today we're using a SNOM 710, you can see, I can see it there, okay? And it is at the moment in factory default, and I've just plugged it in over network. So you can see all different things. I can see the firmware version. I can see it's got nothing on it at the moment. In front of me, it's asking me to select like language and everything. So if I use a supported phone like SNOM, all I have to do is select the phone, I start an extension, I can do my name. Basically, just before I go, I'll actually show you what it looks like. So as you can see, there's nothing on SNOM phone at the moment. So there is no extension, no accounts to configure on it. You don't need to know any information. All you need to know is the IP address of the phone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to configure it on the fly. So what I'm going to do is select that, assign extension. I'm going to do Mohammed Bajwa. Okay. Obviously, it's selected that option here. All I have to do is, if I don't want to add any BLS or anything, all I have to do is press OK. And the phone in front of me has somehow got the extension. So it has happened on the fly. So you can see Mohammed Bajwa has basically got the extension. So if I ring 003 extension number, my phone has been configured. So you can see there was no password set on it before. So when you configure 3CX, it just gets the username, password on the go. But if I do want to find out the username and password to log into the phone, all the information is there. You can select the I symbol and it will show me all the different passwords there. Okay, so it has happened on the fly. You can configure everything and anything. You can configure the BLF on supported phones as well. So if I want to do a BLF on this 710, all I have to do is configure these, configure different options. I can leave it blank or whatever, speed dial or custom speed dial, put the extension numbers or whatever I want to do, and all I have to do is press OK. Sometimes you have to reboot the phones or wait for the phone to contact the server, and it will automatically grab all the information. I think it will automatically, or you can push that as well. If I want to push a certain setting, all I have to do is go to phones, select my phone. Obviously, once you selected the phone, it will appear in there. Now it's saying unsupported firmware because there has been a recent firmware release. So ignore that, but obviously you want to make sure you have got the unsupported version. So all you have to do is, if you want to push new settings to a certain phone, select the phone, go on top of the page, reprovision, and it will reprovision the phones without having to do anything. So everything's on the fly, not reboot, nothing at all. Customer would know anything changed on their system, and it works. You can upload your own, firmware, and you can do all sorts of different things. You can push the firmware as well. So you can see I can push my latest firmware on there as well. So that is what it is about 3CX. It's pretty much straightforward, and it works like that. Now, if you don't want to use any soft phones, obviously the 3CX client, which is the last bit, is available as well. And I'm going to quickly show you how the 3CX client is. So I've already got 3CX client installed. As you can see, once you install the 3CX client, it comes as blank. And what I have to do is send, so whichever extension I've got for the user, I select the user and I send them a welcome email. When I receive a welcome email, the welcome email will have the config details for 3CX. I'll show you quickly. So I've already done that for myself. So I've got that information. So ignore everything else, but you can see that there's an attachment there, which is with the configuration. I've downloaded that. All I have to do now is click on that. You will see the 3CX client will pop up, and there you go. So all this has happened on the fly. All I have to do is open the config file. It has automatically configured all the different details in there, and you can see I've created different group sales and support. It's done that as well. The client is very useful actually to use. You can see I've got Matthew, Mohammed Baju, I've got also different people. The client allows you to do instant messaging, and you can do all sorts of different things. You can see different options there on the bottom of the client. I'm just going to get rid of that, and that so you can see that clearly. So you can see all sorts of different options there on the phone, on the soft phone client. I can use that. I can right click on the person. I can leave voicemail, call extension, intercom, and mainly the instant messaging. So because we designed it as a unified communication platform, instant messaging is a part of the unified communication. So I can chat to Bill and I can say, hi Bill. Obviously I don't have anybody on the other side of it, but instant messaging is part of the 3CX client. It doesn't matter which version you're using, it is included in every single version, and it works with your mobile application, 3CX application, desktop or Mac application at the same time as well. And it synchronizes between the different apps as well. So if you have done something on Windows, it will have the option on the mobile client as well. There are BLF features on the client as well. So if you want to, you can basically see context, which is basically the context you have added on the PBX. So if you have context, it will pop up there. It will. You can see all your call history. You can see all the call history, even though I've just logged in, but you can see all my call history has been downloaded from the PBX as well, so I can see all this information there. I can see voicemail. It will, if I can upload my own voicemails, and I can select different options for voicemail. I'm not going to go in details. I can start a web meeting from here because I'm a part of the web meeting. As you can see, I can fairly quickly start the web meeting. Unfortunately, it is an unsupported thing, but if I go to my Chrome browser and enter that URL, which is again, that URL is I've not copied it correctly. Let me copy it So it uses something called WebRTC, and I'm sure you guys have heard of WebRTC. It's a protocol used by major, most of the web browser guys to do hosted services. So as you can probably see my image, I didn't want to show that, but basically you can see all this different information there on the screen. You can do screen sharing, you can do file sharing, you can do all sorts of different things. You can share PDF, all sorts of different things. And there you can invite people to join your web meetings, and you can have a conference call. So the video you can see on thing is basically, I've got a built-in camera, but the video is basically being sent to a transcoding server somewhere hosted in Europe, maybe an island, and it's doing all the conversion, and it will basically allow you to see video from each end, regardless of whatever camera you're using, built-in or USB camera. So it is a good video conferencing system in place. So I'm just going to get rid of that. And finally, the last bit is this option. So if you have a professional version, you will only see that on professional version because this is more call center oriented features. So if you are using professional version, you can see a nice wallboard. This is again call center feature, which is basically you can see it's all built in on 3.6 client. You don't need any third-party add-ons, which is quite nice. And basically you can see all sorts of different things: call back, call waiting, abandoned call. So it gives you information about call centers. You can rename that 3.6 wallboard to your company. You can upload your own logo as well if you want to. Queue manager and all sorts of stuff. So this is more for receptionist. There is an actual receptionist add-on. So again, the idea being is receptionist can drag and drop. So if two calls are going on at the same time, you can see that from there. So if you just look at what I'm done, you can see I'm just dialing from my phone. I can see the receptionist can see I'm on busy. So it gives you live information about all the users within that PBX, or working on that PBX. Again, the different levels. There is a manager has access to queues and everything, so you can see all different information for managers. And again, queue manager, again, it gives you a bit more information about personal, individual agents as well. So that's about it from my end. I think there is the only thing probably I've missed out is the BLF. Again, the BLF features are all there. Individually, you can see, you can add, you can do all sorts of different things there as well. If you want to show BLF side panel, then you can configure your BLF side panel as well. So you can see I can configure them as so it's whatever I can do on on my SNOM phone or a Yearling phone, I can do the same thing. So I can see a BLF sidecar on my CTI client or on my CTX client as well. So it's pretty much user-friendly, easy to use system in place. Sorry, I've gone through in a bit more detail. I've given you sort of a bit of training, but I think that covers everything from the 3CX side. So I'm going to go back to my slide. And we've gone to basic one, so just wait a second, please. Oh, okay. So that's about it from the demo. If you have any questions about the demonstration, please get in touch. We can do, if we do want us to do a personal demo, then I can do that as well. But when you download 3CX, there is a lot of information, the guides, everything is there to get you going for your first installation. Training is free of charge. So when you become a partner with 3CX, you can do an online training to start off with, but if you do want advanced training courses or certified engineering courses, those are conducted free of charge by 3CX and ProVu, and we will do it throughout the year, every quarter, I believe. So at the moment, we're still working on data at the moment, but it will be done every quarter, either in Manchester or London. But if we have the right audience in different location, obviously we're happy to do that as well. So get in touch with us if you do need more training about it. So just to give you a brief idea before we move on to the summary bit, basically, these are all the different, I've shared a link of all the information about supported phones. If I click on that, it will take me again to 3CX website. You can see all sorts of different supported phones, IP phones there, and by means supported phones, basically what it means is these are the phones which 3CX can provision automatically from within the PBX. phones which are not there under supported, basically you can still use them. It's limited, but you will have to manually input, like use SIP username, SIP passwords, and IP addresses with PBX manually on these phones. So you can't provision them with 3CX. Again, door phones, conference phones, everything is there on their website. So ideally, as I said, to be the safest side, you would probably want to use the supported phones. But if you have customers already have some phones which they want to use, I'm sure it will happily work with 3CX. The only thing is you won't be able to manage them from the 3CX web interface. You will have to manually manage them from the IP addresses of each individual phone. Same as the gate with SIP trunks and VoIP gateways. Again, it just tells you what the supported gateways are or what the supported trunks are. But again, if you have a existing third-party gateway, like for example from Sangoma, it will happily work as well, and we can help you with that. Finally, before we go to summary, we are running a special offer at the moment, which is very attractive and exclusive, as Anna said, to ProVu Communications, and that is on SNOM phones. So basically, we are offering a bundle offer where if you buy any combination of 5, 10, or 15 phones, you get £10 off your buy price, which is very, very attractive, and it is quite competitive. It takes you way back to, in comparison with J-Link, actually, if you are a J-Link customer. At the moment, we are running it until May 2017, but we may extend it, or SNOM may extend it after that as well. But at the moment, you can save up to £150 on buying 50, plus VAT obviously, on buying 15 desk phones, any combination. The maximum limit, unfortunately, is 50 handsets. So you have to buy it with a 3.6 license. So if you buy any 3.6 license with up to 15 handsets, you will get £10 off per phone. If you log into on our Process website, or the pricing you see over there is purely your buy price, standard buy price. So you may have to send us an email to get that £10 off per phone. So we will manually process that order for you at the moment. So whatever you see on the price, you will be charged £10 cheaper when you actually buy any of these bundles. If you do, unfortunately, again, another important part is it's only applicable to 5, 10, or 15 phones. If you buy 6, 7, or 8 phones, you will pay for 5 phones. You will get £10 rebate or £10 discounts on 5 phones, but the remaining 3 phones will have to be purchased at standard buy price. So there is a limitation, but unfortunately, it is done by SNOM. I don't know the reason, but that's what it is at the moment. So get in touch if you have a requirement, and hopefully either myself, Anna, or any of our sales guy will be happy to help you with getting hold of the deal. Okay. So just going to the summary, as Anna suggested, the 3.6 license is very easy to use. I'm sure the demonstration I've given you a bit of information about how easy it is to configure. Upgrade, it has happened on the fly. So if you have a 4-call system and you want to upgrade to 8-call system, it is pretty much straightforward. You can upgrade it. You can obviously purchase the upgrade from us, and we will do that in 15 minutes or 20 minutes. And sometimes obviously it can take longer, but we are fairly quick with upgrades or buying new license. We can come back to you with the license key fairly quickly. We've done a lot of quick API integration with 3CX. I'm not going to go in details, but it works quite nicely so far. And eventually we will have a proper, fully API-driven system where you go online, place an order, and as soon as you place an order, 5 minutes later or 2 minutes later, you get an email back with from 3CX, from ProVu, with your license key, regardless of whatever time you order. So it's coming, but it's taking time. So again, the idea, so coming back to the summary, so it will reduce the overall cost because obviously it is fairly easy to use. You don't have to hire dedicated engineers. Any IT guy with general knowledge will be able to install 3.6 licenses. It is available in both Windows and Linux versions, so depending on what your preference is, you can install it on top of Windows, or if you prefer, or if you're a Linux person, you can install it on a Linux version as well. It's not available on a Raspberry Pi or ARM-based system. It's purely installed or available on Intel x86 or 32-bit or 64-bit if it makes it easier. 3CX can integrate with third-party CRM systems. There are add-ons available, which is available only from professional enterprise versions. So there are add-ons available if you buy third party, if you buy professional enterprise licenses. Once you become, also the important part is, once you become a partner with 3CX, you get free NFR professional license. So depending on the partner level, you will get a 4-call NFR professional license. So you can basically, the idea being is you can test every single feature of the PBX without having to pay anything. So you will get free NFR license, and obviously you can use this for demonstration, you can use it for internal company demos, and all. You can do whatever you want to do. Apart from selling it, you can't sell that license, because eventually 3CX will know that if you try to sell that license, and they will revoke it.
Just to add to that, Mo, I just want to remind you that there is no obligation or commitment to buy when you're registering as a 3CX partner. So this is purely for you, even if you're just the tiniest bit curious, this is purely for you to just be able to go have a play around, see how it works for yourself, test it with any kit that you've got in-house, you know, for ones that your customers are buying. That's purely just for you to get to learn a bit more and see how it all works.
That's great. Thank you, Anna. And finally, you get free training to start selling the PBX. So if you are starting to sell a PBX, there's a free version. There's a free training available online on 3CX website. When you become a partner, you can go through all the information and do the exam online. Once you think you need a bit more hands-on experience and you need a bit more advanced training course, or you need to attend an advanced training course, you can send your engineers to one of the dedicated training days hosted by 3CX, and you can get your engineers a bit more certified or more useful, certified on 3CX licenses. Again, and finally, look at 3CX special bundle offers. It is very, it is very competitive, and because it's only available on to ProVu, it may work well for some of our customers as well. So get in touch with us if you need any information. So that's about it. It's taken us a bit longer than anticipated. I think the demonstration took a while as well. But if you have any questions, any concerns, or if you require any information, please get in touch with us. If you are not already a 3CX partner, you can apply to be a 3CX. We've shared a link on this slide, so you can basically apply to be a 3CX partner, and when you do fill out the information, if you do want to purchase through ProVu, you can choose ProVu as a distributor. You can put notes on as a ProVu distributor, and 3CX will basically assign you over to us as a preferred partner. So I'm just going to give us about a couple of minutes and see if I can find some questions. We do have quite a few questions, so I'm just going to try and see if I can answer them. Also, there are obviously the most interesting ones, such as Chrome. So there was a question about if you're doing an attended transfer, does that count as using Choose SC? Unfortunately, yes, because it is based on number of invite packets, which is what SIP uses to initiate a call. So if you are doing an attended transfer, while you are actually doing the attended transfer, it will count as 2 simultaneous calls. So again, that's where you need to do a bit more calculations on the number of simultaneous calls. Does the standard include call queuing? Answer is yes, call queuing is a standard feature. It comes with standard and professional. The only difference is with the professional license, you get more features like wallboards, call reporting, agent reporting. You can schedule sales. You can schedule queues or schedule sales campaigns and also different things with professional and enterprise. I think that's it really. I hope it was useful. Failover. So there's another question actually. So do I require a second license for the failover feature in Pro versions? Yes. So if you are using a Pro version of 3CX license, you will need a second license key to do the HA, but the ideal way would be to upgrade your existing professional version to enterprise, because when you upgrade, it's more cheaper. With upgrade to enterprise, you get 2 licenses. So ideally, if you have a failover in mind, always go for an enterprise version, because when you purchase an enterprise version, it will give you 2 license keys, one for the primary and one for the secondary PBX. Okay. I think that's about it really. Thank you for attending the webinar. I hope it was useful. We have shared our information obviously on the first slide, so if you have any questions, any concerns, you can either contact myself or Anna. Any information about the bundle offers, please get in touch, and either myself or Anna will be happy to deal with you. Thank you for attending the webinar. Okay, actually I've got another question, so I'll try and answer. Do you need a SIP trunk for an internal call? No, you don't need a SIP trunk for internal calls. SIP trunks are purely used for external calling. So you will only need a SIP trunk if you're making an external call. Presumably, if you're using a 3CX server, PBX, you would be connecting it either to a gateway or you would be connected to an external SIP trunk provider. Okay, so any more further questions, again, we will try and answer later on, because we are obviously over our dedicated time period. So we will be we will send you, all people who have shared our their email addresses, we will send you an email with the recorded version of the webinar and a copy of the slide deck as well. Thank you for attending the webinar.
Thank you.
And hopefully we'll speak to you again. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.